Hey guys, I thought I'd do another story time with you. For some reason today I had this story come in my head. Uh, Back when I was a little boy, before my brother and sister were born, it was just my dad and my mom and myself. We lived in an apartment building, and my dad traveled all the time. He'd normally come home on Fridays. He'd be gone all week, and he would come home on Fridays. He'd fly in on a commercial jet. He stayed traveling all over the country. So he would come home normally on Fridays, and as I said, biggest part of the week, it was just my mom and myself. So my mom and dad were trying to instill in me the attitude of work. By that I mean, you do your chores and stuff like that. And they started at an early age with me. Uh, like 4 or 5 years old. It's, like I said, it's before my brother and sister were ever born. Uh, if I kept my room clean and I cleaned the bathroom and done whatever my mom said during the week without complaining, or griping, you know how kids are, and I'm a typical kid. When my dad come home on Fridays, he'd ask my mom, hey, how'd he do on his chores? And, my mom would most of the time say he done good. So I would get 50 cents every week, 50 cents. I had a little piggy bank that I put my money in, and 50 cents every week, and I was saving up for something big. And I just learned how to ride a two-wheel bicycle. We lived in an apartment building, and there was a lot of concrete in the backyard, and I had training wheels, and finally I learned how to ride a two-wheel bicycle. So I was pretty happy about that, and of course my parents were too. And I decided I was going to save my money and fix up my bicycle. It was a new bicycle, wasn't nothing fancy. It was red, had a regular seat on it and regular handlebars. And I decided I was going to buy. This is a long time ago. I remember I'm an older guy, so back in the '60s, they had like banana seats. So I saved up for a long time and bought me a banana seat, and my dad put it on for me. As I said, I was just a young feller, and I bought me some high handlebars. I forget the correct word for it, but handlebars that stuck up real high. And I had my banana seat, and I had them little streamers in my grips on my handlebars. Boy, I was real happy about that. I thought I was a cat's meow, and I just played by myself. I didn't have no one to play with, and one evening, as I said, my dad was gone most of the time, and this week was no different. So it was getting dark outside, and I'd been riding my bicycle in the backyard, and where my mom would keep an eye on me. And we lived on the ground floor, so when you looked out the window, you could see the backyard. My mom would keep an eye on me, make sure, I was doing okay. And it was getting dark, and my mom was making supper for me and her. And we was eating supper, and my mom heard something. So, and I think I heard it too. So we both went to the window. It was summertime, and the windows was up. We didn't have air conditioning. We just had a screen covering the window to keep the flies and mosquitoes and stuff like that out of the house, of the apartment. So, we thought we heard a racket in the backyard, and I kept my bicycle. The landlord that we lived that owned the apartment building, he wanted my bicycle parked at a certain spot on the concrete, and and I did. I parked it there every time I was done. I'd park it there, and he was a real nice guy, him and his wife. And anyway, so we went back to eating supper, and we heard something again, kind of loud, and by the time we got to the window, my bicycle was gone. So we couldn't find it. Somebody stole my bicycle, and so I I was just devastated, and my mom was too, because my parents were not, rich. anything like that. For them to get me that bicycle, that was something. So, and I'd been saving for 50 cents a week for a long time in order to get the banana seat and the little frilly things on the streamers for my bicycle grips, and the high bar handlebars. That's what I'm going to call them. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so my mom called my dad's brother, my uncle, and he come over, and we just kind of looked around, and we looked for, I don't know, a pretty good while, maybe a day or two, just walking around, trying to see if we could spot my bicycle. Well, we think we spotted it, and somebody had rattle canned it spray paint blue. But I knew my bike, and that was my bike. I never did get it back. So for the longest time, in the apartment building, I didn't have a bicycle or anything. So one of my neighbors, our neighbors, that lived in another apartment building, I guess my mom had told him my bicycle had been stolen and couldn't afford to get another bicycle. So they reached out and gave me their daughter's bicycle. It's a big old, uh, you know, like a 26-inch, I think, bicycle. Pretty good sized bike. I wasn't used to riding a bicycle that big because, I was just a little feller. And anyway, I was kind of ashamed. That's crazy, but I was kind of ashamed to ride that bicycle because it's a girl's bicycle. But so, shame on me for that. But anyway, I was glad to have a bike. So I rode that bicycle. But, I tried to make it kind of hot roddy. I took I got some crescent wrench and some few things, and my dad and I we took the fenders off and stuff and tried to make it kind of, I guess, like a hot rod kind of bike, if that makes any sense. But he was trying to dress it up for me because we didn't have money to go get another bike or any accessories. So anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say, I believe that's the first time I've ever had in my life anything stolen from me. And, it's funny, I remember that. But anyway, I thought I'd share this story with you. I know it's kind of a dumb story, but, I've had things stolen from me, since then, lots of things. But, you know, that bicycle thing, that was the first time. I guess I just realized in my lifetime when I was little that, you know, some people are not always good people. And sometimes you work for things and then they get gone without you realizing it. So anyway, I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. I don't know if I understand what I'm talking about, but that's the first time, as far as I know, I had anything stolen from me. And it was, like I said, I was about 4 or 5 years old. I was just a little feller. But anyway, I did finally, on that first bicycle before it got stolen, I did learn how to ride a two-wheel bike. So I was real proud of that. Finally got my training wheels off. And I remember my mom and dad was just tickled to death, how you are with your first child. So anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. Maybe you've had something stolen that, really doesn't mean much to you, to anybody else, but it does to you. And, that bicycle, I reckon because I had saved up, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, for a long time. And I remember my piggy bank was this little squirrel. He had a little slot in the back of his head as a dark colored squirrel. And I'd put my 50 cents in there every Friday if I'd been good and got all my chores done. But anyway, that kind of got me going as far as, learning how that if you worked and done a good job, you get paid for it. Somebody would appreciate it. And, it wouldn't be a bad idea if some people learned their children early too, because I did learn the value of saving and doing work and trying to do a good job, because my mom would tell me if I didn't do a good job, I'd have to do it again. So there wasn't no halfway going on anything. So anyway, appreciate you listening to this story. And didn't mean to be so long-winded. It's just something that popped in my head today, and I wanted to share it with you because to me it was important. Hope y'all's having a great day. Hope y'all's being well. The birds are out. I guess you can hear them. and so are the insects. So anyway, y'all have a great day. If you like story time that I do every now and again, well, subscribe, give me a big old thumbs up. And I'm on Instagram, Primate is Best, and Facebook, Primate is Best. Y'all have a great day. I am. Thank you for listening to the story, and I'll see you later.